first of all, you have to look in the mirror and see what's going on inside. If you can break those habits and those trigger points, you can keep walking. But that is the hardest part for anybody. Because if you're going to keep on comparing or judging, I always say when it comes to, if you're going to judge somebody, this is the quickest way to learn to unjudge somebody. Go and find out about them. So for example,
I believe that in life we are here to serve a purpose greater than ourselves. But in order to do that the best way, we must start with investing in ourselves. I believe in you, and this channel is going to give you tools to help you overcome your challenges and light your path. Let's start.
Hello, Glenn. Good morning. Well, I guess good afternoon.
good afternoon, mate. It is 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon here in Sydney, Australia.
Wow. That's so cool. You know, it's so far away, Glenn, and we're probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 20, I don't know how much, but thousands of miles away. And just talking over here, it's amazing. What an honor to have you here. Wow. That's amazing.
And likewise, it is Friday afternoon and the future's looking bright, mate. The future's looking bright.
The future is looking bright. I think, you know, it could even be even more bright if we look at our past and learn from it. It would even be, it would be amazing.
Exactly.
I love the name of your podcast. It's like, wow. You know, so many people try to imperfectly perfect. Whoever's not there yet should go and listen. You're amazing people that you have on your show, and I really like it. And then I'll let you talk because you know you're here, and it's a great honor. And the fact that so many people today try to being perfect, not perfect to them, perfect to someone else outside them. And you're saying that imperfectly perfect, it's like, it's everything. There's a famous song of John Legend, "Love all your perfect imperfections." How did you get to that name?
I always say, and it's funny because I help people essentially, from what I've done, I essentially help mentor people in pulling that person out of them that they were always born to be. And that's the imperfections. God made us who we essentially are. All our imperfections what make us perfect. And I think, like you was talking about those patterns early on, if people can realize this, they can surrender to their truth and lead by those imperfections, you're going to attract the right people. You're going to bring your people to you. We're too busy with societal expectations, with environmental issues, everything going on, that we buried ourselves, who we were, from all this. So with me, I was having a conversation one day with a good friend of mine, and we was talking about social media, and he happens to be an actor. And he said to me, you know what? He said, look, I love my job, but sometimes it just gets to the point where I have to post all the highlights. I have to post my job. I don't feel it in here. And he was like, I just feel so perfectly perfect. And I was like, that right
Wow.
there is, and now like you say, it's Dr. Joe Dispenza, Wim Hof, Les Brown, Evan, all of them, just leading by their imperfections and going, at the end of the day, we're all human. And the way that you find your people, I'm not living by this ideal of perfectionism, it's by leading by imperfections.
Wow. I think if people only get that part that you just now said, get it and implement it in their life and accept it, not just hear it, because hearing is not enough. You need to put it inside. Yeah. That could be that by itself could do like a huge difference in their life. I want to ask you, Glenn, you went through some challenging things in your life. One of them is losing your close friend.
Yep.
Does that first, that alone, I'm sure it's really hard. I have no doubt about it. I know how it is. And that experience is extremely, so, you know, I'm trying to put it into words. There are no words for that. So when you go through something like that, does that also affect like the way you look at yourself? Like, does that also make you think like when something like that happens, maybe something inside me is also not good enough or needs to change, since my friend is not here anymore. Like a lot of things come up. I know it happened to me when my friend passed away. Like I had actually a lot of, like, I'll say, fire coming back at me. I was wondering if that's also something that you had at that time.
Well, it's funny because how it all happened for me was 6-7 years ago. I went through some struggles myself in terms of I was in the health and fitness industry, and I started comparing myself. So I ended up with body dysmorphia. So how powerful your mind can be in achieving what I've become to achieve now and what everyone else can also essentially be to your detriment. So I went down a dark path for a long time with body dysmorphia, and I managed to get myself out of it. 4 years ago, before I started the IPC, I turned social media back on because it was a big attributor to what I went through. And I noticed a friend had passed away. There was no build-up. There was nobody saying how he passed away. And I'm looking at all these socials, and because I live in Australia and he lives in the UK, it's been a long distance. And I was looking at his social media, and I was like, he's got the career, he's got the cars, the highlights, he's got a little boy, he's got this. And then when I asked some friends back in the UK, I was like, what happened? Did he die of natural causes? Because there was nothing on social media? He took life. And I was like, what? So the thing that hit me the hardest was when his partner posted a montage of their life together. And between that, there was a video, and it gets me every time, of him and his little boy just cuddling and dancing and kissing and laughing. And I was like, I was in a dark space back in the day, but I was able to speak out and get help. He must have been thought, as a man, we are taught from a young age to mask our emotions, and decided to take his. And for me, I was like, for his wife to down and say to their little boy that daddy is not coming home, just broke my heart. So I knew I had something placed on my heart, and it wasn't essentially what you say, did it make you think of things? Because I think on our journey, we've all got these things that we've put on top of us, and we have to uncover them. But if I can, or anyone else can, turn that pain to their purpose. And Les Brown always says, when I interviewed him, he said, the story you were sat on, somebody out there is waiting to hear. They're waiting to hear that hope they can get through what they're going through. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, think they're going through it alone. And storytelling is one of the oldest forms of communication that makes us connect to each other. And what do people ultimately want? A sense of belonging. So that's, I turned my pain into a purpose that has essentially just gone around the world, and I'm very grateful for it. But along that has been a lot of journey, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of struggles, and what we talk about now when it comes to patterns and how we break them and forward.
Wow, what a story! You just now shared a small part, but I was reading and following all the work you do, and you are one person that went through that challenge, but the light that you bring to the world through what you're doing now, like, you're all over the world. Like, it's not just a phrase, it's actually right. Like, you're all over, and you're helping so many people. And by the way, I think, and I just want to talk just one more second about your friend. Your work right now, I'll say it that way, your message right now, I'm 100% that if some of the people that are listening to you, it prevented them from taking that step and ending their life. So I guess it's kind of both of you together and partner with that, you and your friend, that through whatever he went through and then through the message that you bring, you're saving so many people. So I think that by itself is amazing. Is like, you could have said, that happened and just close down your life, and also through your history, your challenges and that mental health, that comparison to other people, just finish. And instead of that, you took it to a total different place of basically lighting the path for so many people that just see dark, like they don't see anything.
Yeah.
I think today, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I have this feeling that, everyone's on social media, and like you said, it looks really good in the post. but so many people are in a place of comparison, and they're not enough, and they're looking always for that validation from the outside. How does someone, like you were there, and I'm also there sometimes, and how does someone start that momentum of getting out of that place? Like, you need to get that wheel started in order to start being validated by yourself. And also, when I say validated, I'll stop here for a second. It doesn't mean judging yourself all day, every day. It means accepting yourself and acting out of surrender. But how does someone start? You have experience helping so many people around the world, and you're a coach that so many people just come to you and seek for your help. So how does someone stop with that comparison? Number one. Number two, how does someone basically, like, nothing to do with comparison, just happy with whatever he has right now, being grateful, and from that mind, always pushing forward?
Yeah. I mean, for me, what you were saying and attesting to it, there is this whole piece. So if anyone goes to my socials, if you go down, I have shared the story of me building a PC. As you spoke about there, the highlight reels, there's this piece around compete, compare, and judge. People are in comparison, people are comparing, people are judging. However, the only thing it's doing is hindering our progress. So if people go down my social media, they'll see I actually left my career and I jumped in construction, and I was doing it for 12 to 14 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. I was getting home, I was doing marketing, I was learning press releases. And essentially, I always say now, with my personal relationship with God, if it wasn't for him, it was me, myself, and I doing all of this. He's opened the doors for me to keep walking this path because I had something placed on my heart. But if anyone's going to start, it is that full transparency of owning your imperfection and realizing that, first of all, you have to look in the mirror and see what's going on inside. If you can break those habits and those trigger points, you can keep walking. But that is the hardest part for anybody. Because if you're going to keep on comparing or judging, I always say when it comes to, if you're going to judge somebody, this is the quickest way to learn to unjudge somebody. Go and find out about them. So for example, yourself, you're doing some great things on social media. And the people that we both know in that group, they're clapping the loudest for you. But equally, if you were struggling, you know that they'd be there to pick you up off the floor. If you find out about anybody and their story, you're looking at someone's highlight reel. If someone looked at mine and goes, oh, well, he knows all these people and he's big, what would he know? How has he ever struggled? Well, go and read my story, and then you'll think, oh my God, look at all that crap that he's been through. I'm clapping the loudest. I'm not making judgment. Now it's his time to shine because of what he's been through. But because we live in a world that is so fast-paced, everyone's just like wanting to get to the success or whatever they think it is, they're missing the point of growth and learning about who they are and seeing the people that they're admiring or looking up to or judging ultimately are being at that place where they are now. But because they're going at their part of the chapter and their part of the chapter, they think they're never going to attain that. But these people have been through that step, and that's why people that we know, you know that they're not going to judge you because they're there clapping for you, because you're trying to help each other grow. But when it comes to the question that you was asking, Hand, I just digress to that because I think it's important what people need to comparison and judgment. It's if you're not willing to understand the process of what is going on inside, you're going to reflect that onto people you attract. So the more people that come into you, if you're feeling like you're being hindered or people using you, manipulating you, or you keep on getting this downtrodden thing and you're going into this martyr mentality, essentially you're attracting those people. I really tap into people's hearts, but when it comes to energetic frequencies, low vibrational frequencies are all about me, me, me. It's really all about the martyr mentality. High vibrational frequency is about giving to others, being of service to others, love and generosity and everything. You can keep in the perfect state of being up there, you're going to attract those people. But the more we're down here, we have to break those habits. But first of all, we need to go back and uncover where it's all come from. So I know you as a coach, you'll do that. I do that. There's a lot of people. I actually don't. This is the funny. I hate titles. So I don't call myself a coach or a mentor. I say, I'm Glenn. Nice to meet you. It's funny, like if you lead with humility and being humble, I'll go on these podcasts or I'll go on a show or something and they'll be like, this is Glenn, is this and this, and I'm like, I'm just Glenn. I'm Glenn.
And that's amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, you're doing some amazing stuff, mate, and I keep on watching your stuff and seeing you grow and everything. And I just think it's important to realise that obviously when you're growing, we're all on the same path. If people out there are claiming to be experts on this, they're not leading by humility. Nobody's an expert. They always need some help. Everyone's got a skill set. Everyone's got a gift. And we get stuck at times. And if we're not allowing ourselves to embrace and ask for help, that's when we get stuck even more.
Wow, those few, like, it's all through the interview, you're just saying amazing, really amazing inspiration. And like I said, not only to have it as inspiration, also to implement afterwards. It's wow, and it's amazing. And I just want to go back to the last few words, like you were saying a few minutes ago, that we're all here on the same path. And then you're also mentioning the no one's an expert and asking for help. So I want to touch on that. There's all these. First, I'm not coming. Each person, I always have a saying: you do you, I do me. As long as we're good for other people, it's all good. You could call yourself a guru, a coach, mentor. I don't mind. But I think none of us is an expert. I read to myself every morning. I read all kinds of things for myself, for my mind. One of them is I'm always a student. So maybe someone will call me a coach or a mentor. I don't mind. But also then, like, I'm never in a place that I stop learning. I'm a student from the second I came to this earth until the day I won't be here. There's a saying, we're a spiritual being having a human experience. So in this experience, personally, I'm a student. And when you said we're all on the same path, I see that path is pretty simple. So that is that we're all here to serve a purpose greater than ourselves. And in order to do that the best way, we need to do what you did when you basically brought yourself out of that darkness, is to invest in ourselves. Because if we're always in a place that we're not us and we're always comparing to other people and socials and everything, we're not bringing out the gold that is in us. I spoke, was maybe a week ago, at a conference of singles. And I'm also single, and I know for myself and a lot of my friends, there's always that comparison that, my friend has that, she has that. Like, there's always a comparison, and you always look to validate yourself based on that future partner. So when I spoke there, I told them, and I'm a student, I'm always also reminding myself, each and every one of us has gold inside themselves. Like, the gold is here. It's the second you woke up, you have that privilege to wake up. A lot of people don't wake up in the morning. When we wake up, we're here. We're able to walk. We're able to see. We're able to. I hope you also have a blanket. And like, there's so many amazing things that we have already right now. And like you said at the beginning, when you look at that mirror, you see that it's a diamond right there, and it's you. But you need to work like you did, and you did an amazing job, and you're still doing it. And what I love is that you're helping through that so many people. You're discovering your gold. In order to get to the gold, you need to dig, and to dig is the work. And work is not bad work. I think work is a great word. It's fine. And when you find that light, so you light your path. When you light your path, you light the path of the person next to you and the person next to you. And I don't think, Glenn, that each person needs to go and be over there on social media and impact 10, 20 million. I don't care how much. Like, impact yourself, and then understand, maybe for you the most important thing is your family, and that's where you want to put your focus. And you're not looking for 20 million, or you are looking for 20 million, go do that. But each one has his path, but we're all on the same path of basically lighting the path for the surrounding. But to do that the best way, we must start with investing in ourselves. So I want to ask another question, and that one would, I always like with having things that people can actually really do.
Can I just say one second? You just hit the nail on the head with that gold. So I tell a story that I learned of my wife. It's about the golden Buddha. So essentially, back in the day, there was a monastery, and they had golden Buddhas everywhere. So they tried to hide as many as they could, and they hid the biggest golden Buddha with mud and clay and silt and everything on it. So
Wow.
when they attacked, they obviously took a lot of the gold, but they never found this. Now, years later, because those original monks got run off or whatever happened, years later, they was going to be knocking this monastery down and building like a motorway or something as the years went by. Anyway, there was a storm one night and the monastery was going to be moved, and one monk went outside with the storm. He saw a flash, like a glimmer from this sill. So it was, the next day he went out with a couple of the monks and they started chipping away and they uncovered the golden Buddha. That golden does. We have been with society, with everything that we've placed on top of us, with that clay, that mud, that crap. We need to uncover that, just like they did, and find the golden Buddha within our heart. Boom. Like that?
That's exactly that, Glenn. That's exactly that. Yeah. Amazing what you just now said. And that golden Buddha is in us. You know, when a baby is born and when he's a year old, I forgot who says it. I want to say her name just to respect her, but I don't remember. But she says, like, when a baby is born, I forgot, but Louis Hay, I think. When a baby's born, so the baby doesn't judge itself when it's a year old about, you know, I'm looking like this, I'm looking like that. It crawls around, it jumps, well, it doesn't jump, but it falls, it crawls, you know, it's there, it's alive. And as time passes, like you said, that golden Buddha, we start covering ourselves with all these covers and all of that light, like all of a sudden becomes dark. I think that with the work that you do, and I really recommend people follow you on social media, your work is amazing. It would help them to uncover that all the things that they covered themselves with, whether it's through comparison, whether it's even if no one was there, just judging themselves, and basically see that gold in them, because that gold is amazing. First for themselves. The second you realize your gold, and it's not an unending process. When you see more and more of that gold, the value goes up for you and for the people surrounding you. So I really think that what you just said was really amazing. And I would like to ask you, how does someone that is in right now, and you know, people were at home now for, well, I don't know when someone's going to listen to this, but people were at home now for a year or two with COVID, and all day, all night we're on social medias and in a comparison, and he's doing that, she's doing that, I'm not doing that. And that's number one. And number two, we're judging themselves because I want to work out, but I didn't work out because I was stuck at home. And now that people are a little bit more out, and in general, what's that, I guess, that first step that someone could do? Because I always believe in first steps. You know, I'm going soon backpacking in, hopefully in the East. And, you know, there's Mount Everest over there. You don't get to Mount Everest and just jump to the top. You need to take that first step. And then the second, and it's going to be hard. And then the path that you went on is going to change. So I'm a big believer in that first step in each field, because otherwise you won't start. You'll try to make it perfect, and like you're the master of that. I know you don't like when I say that, but you basically try to make it perfect, and then you don't do anything. So what's that first step that someone is right now? Let's say I'm in a place that I feel that I'm not enough. I feel I could have been better. I'm just judging myself all day. What's that first step I could take in order to get out of that?
You know what I tend to do with a lot of people first, and I really learn to tap into them. Essentially, I need to know, I listen to people. If you have the discernment of really listening to people, you can sense where this pain's coming from. Now, I think Roxana's on here. She's one of my clients, and the breakthroughs that she has is incredible. But essentially, you have to, if people can't speak it out, I get them to write it out and to write a letter back to themselves of pivotal moments, and I can put patterns out of there, but I get them to read it out so that we can find out where it essentially comes from. Because if they're not moving from that, I wouldn't want to start people. I always say business is hard, but you can learn it. It's the same as the analogy like you talked about the baby. Everyone's wanting this short route to success. However, it didn't take a baby to walk A to Z. And you know, like these days, everybody's basically going, I can make 6-7 figures in 4 weeks. I'm in 6 weeks. And you're like, hold on a minute, really? Because the people that I talk to who are millionaires, they all say the same thing, which is completely opposite. It took me 10, 20 years to become this overnight success. So you need to bring it back to basics. There's so many people trying to overcomplicate things. You know what? Pull back. If social media is too much for you, if everything else, pull back. Try and gain some clarity. And then work with somebody. If you can't do it alone, work with somebody that's stepped into your journey, that's been on your journey, that you resonate with, before you start trying to go ahead. Because you see a lot of people, and you can tell. You can tell when people are lost. Because 1 minute, they'll be doing this. The next minute, they'll be doing crypto. The next, they'll be doing NFT. They'll be doing that. And it's just going, you're not consistent, so nothing's ever going to work. But they're lost in their head on their own journey. Why you should never make judgment, because hey, we've all been there, we've all been on a path. Anyone to act righteous is just wrong, because we've all been on a path where we don't know what we don't know. But essentially, you can help somebody and you can bring it back to basics and help them understand the importance of looking in on themselves more than anything. Then they can move into business, because once you tap into this and this, you will skyrocket. And people say, how did you manage to take something international in 12 months with not knowing nobody? Relationship. If you can build a relationship, if you have got the discernment to actually genuinely want to know people and hear their story, the rest is history. And I'll just finish off and say on this part, when we speak about, and I say this all the time, so if someone's wanting to make a difference, we hear it all the time and they go, if I just make an impact on one person's life, then I've done my job. Now there's a point where it comes where the ego comes into place, because if someone does a live on Instagram or a live on something else or an event and one person shows up, what do people tend to do? They go into their ego and they cancel it, because their ego goes, oh my, there's only one person on this platform. Oh, what happened to, like this? And I'm like, okay, so think about it this way. That one person, if God or whoever you brought them to you because they needed to hear the words that you are saying to them, and you just happen to change that person's life, that person then in turn, because you know nothing about them, could be somebody who owns a multi-million-dollar company. But because you went into your ego and you canceled it because you thought, what's it going to look like? You could have been brought a blessing there. Somebody needed your help and they remembered you and then said your name to somebody that could turn your life around for yourself. Look about things and change the narrative, the way that we've been indoctrinated on things since we went to school. This is the way, this. Simplify it, go back. You said we're all spiritual beings. I believe that. We're on this journey in the human form. And the way that I believe, more and more people actually come together, the wealth can be shared. Nobody should be on the street. Nobody should be struggling. It's just, that's my belief.
I love it. I love it, Glenn. That was amazing. And I just want to take from there, like, I want to take everything. But a part that it's really amazing. And I really recommend people listen to this again, because before I'm going to say what I want to say, sometimes I ask myself, like, why do I need to listen to knowledge like so many times? And then once I was listening to this lecture, actually Les Brown was also in that one. I was listening, I think, like 100 times, and the 100th time, something like came into my mind that, like, wow, I didn't think about this before. So repetition is really important. You mentioned before that we don't, like you said, that you might hope that one person and that one person has a ripple effect of helping you back and also helping other people. We don't really know what is our action going to do. What we do know is that did we do our best or not? So I think people need to understand, and again, when I say people, I'm in the same game, that all the magic is in the unknown. Because if you play a game only of what you think that the life is what you know, you're missing life, because life is so much bigger than that, and the magic is in what you don't know. What you know is amazing. That will give you tools to continue. And I really believe in what you said. I think that's something really powerful. So I did that. What is that?
Because of how we've been indoctrinated and everything's this fast moving, we're trying to control it. And if we feel like we can't control, what happens? We go into ego and it keeps us stuck. So we actually procrastinate more because we're like, not doing anything, I don't feel good enough. Self-belief comes into play. Oh my God, oh my God, quit. We just need to pull it, render to it. And look, I'm not saying, and I'm never here to preach, I'm just here to say, basically, I have been through a lot. Like, it's been one of the biggest blessings of my life. It's also been one of the biggest struggles to learn what I've learned and to see people and all the rest of it. And I'm never going to not lead by my imperfections and truth, because I believe the more truthful you are, the more you're going to attract the right people who can see your heart, and the more people then who want to learn or acquire your knowledge, they'll want to work with you because they can feel the energy, they can feel your heart. And you're not just in it for a quick buck. Like a lot of people out there, and there's no judgment on them, but they're doing it for a sense of accomplishment and grow and get money and money and money. But if you can actually transform someone's life, there's nothing like it. If you can see somebody just go from where they were to another thing, like there's no dispenser. He kept on saying the thing during the thing. Once you know, you know. And I was like, what the bloody hell does he know that I don't know? What does he know? And he kept saying it. I interviewed off then said the same thing. And because I listened, I'm like, what the bloody hell do they all know? Like, what is this? And then Les Brown said the same thing. Once you know, Glenn, no, there's no way going back. And I'm like, can I ask you, what is it that I don't know? And then he started asking more stuff, more spiritual stuff. And he said, you do know what you're doing is being led. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, okay, you didn't know anybody. It went global in 12 months, and you're growing, and you're helping these people. Do you think you're just being on your own? I was like, no, I know I'm not. I know there's something else. He was like, right. So now you need to tap more into here, which means uncovering all the crap that has been placed on us to tap more into your subconscious more than logic. That's another boom. Yeah, and that's from these top guys. And I used to be like, what are they talking about? Once you know, these are the ones that keep growing and growing and healing and helping people and going bigger, bigger, bigger. And I'm like, what do they all know? I was like, what? And then when it started happening for me, I was like, right. So this is okay. Now I kind of know what you're talking about. And then you just have to go with it. But it's you have to seriously let go of that control. You're trying to control. It's not going to work.
If people take that last sentence, I'm serious. I'm not saying it as a phrase. It could really change people's life because we're not in control. And, just letting go of that control, no judgment, working over here. Everything is over here in our head, also, of course, in our heart. And I think that could really change a person's life. I just want to say something about that no judgment because I was a big judge. I think I was the Supreme Court of my judgment. Like I used to judge myself so much. And it's not, I think what you said is really, kind of rhymes in there. So the no judgment that you mentioned before and the acceptance and releasing the control is great. It doesn't mean there's judgment. That's one thing. And there's feedback. Feedback is amazing. You're a friend of yourself and you're trying to improve. So if something didn't work, so, okay, now I'm trying to learn how to improve it, and that's great, but it's not a judgment. But after we come and give ourselves our feedback of how to improve, then take that step that you said, release the control. We have no control, and the only control that we have is do the best we can. The rest, that's it. So I really connect to everything you said today. It was amazing. You said really great steps you gave for me, for other people. And now it's just, it's our part to go and implement it. And I really appreciate your time today, Glenn. It was great meeting you. And who knows, maybe one of these days I'll get to Australia. We'll have a coffee together.
Exactly. I just want to finish and say one thing that made me do what I did, and it was from Gary V. Listen to this and take it. When I first came across Gary V, and the day that I meet him, I'll shake his hand and say thank you. He said to me through YouTube, I never knew him before that. He said, the 1% of people will listen to what I'm saying and they'll take action. 99% of people will listen to what I'm saying, they'll write it down, they'll go home, they'll forget about it, they'll come back the next year and they'll be asking the same questions. It just takes one person to change your life.
Amazing. And that one person, like you said, could change the people around and around. So your one person is huge. It's huge. I love it. You know, that last nugget was great. Really appreciate that.
Welcome, mate. You're welcome. Before I go, thank you for what you're doing. You're doing incredible things, mate. So you're making a huge impact as well. So thank you for inviting me on.
And it was my pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. And hopefully, you know, we'll have a next time sometime soon. And until then, have a great day with your kids. The weekend's coming up with your kids, family. So have a great time there.
You too, mate. Chat soon.
I hope you enjoyed the video and got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. If you haven't yet, please smash that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, the most amazing things in life are the ones you take for granted.